course, people are getting older and need premises to live somewhere. That's number one. And number two is if the covenant of such units and such assets are good, and there are some very good manager doing these sort of developments, then there is a chance to get very high returns from the investor side. If you have the knowledge, as Sasha said before, and if you are prepared also to take some risks and to find a new manager if your old manager is disappearing.
Okay, good. Nils, yeah.
Maybe just adding on to that, we're not invested in the sector in Germany, but I fully agree that this is certainly something where there is potential. So far, I think a lot of investors have been held back by really the fragmented operating side of it, where, as you mentioned, it's actually, yes, if you have a good one, actually there aren't that many good ones, and a lot of them that are in the places where you would like to invest are often very local and maybe not that professional. So I do think that there is, to open up really more investment from an institutional point of view, it's going to take some more reorganization on the operating side. It's going to happen at some point because demand is there and it's growing, but that has held us back. I don't know, how about the other colleagues here?
Yeah, I was just going to add, it's with our US platform, it's one of their most significant investment programs, the senior housing investment. I think my experience of it in Europe is I certainly share Niels's view in terms of the difficulty of matching up investment with the right kind of operator. There have been, certainly pre-peak, there have been some fairly spectacular sort of difficult situations in this space, including in Germany, where the model just wasn't put together in the right way. I think then, since that period, people have been so focused on just core real estate and the basic three sectors plus resi that it's kind of fallen slightly off the radar. But I think that, frankly, for demographic reasons, and when you look at structurally what the provision is today, we're looking at two ends of the generational sort of span in real estate terms, which are hugely underprovided, unstructured, often unprofessional, and there is significant demand, and there's going to be growing demand, certainly at the upper end of the age span, and for that reason I see a major opportunity. But it needs to be organised, it needs to be structured in terms of getting the operational side together. But I'm absolutely certain that in the next 10 years it's going to be in a way that perhaps, when you go back to the 80s, it was big box retail. That was not so much a demographic but a consumer structural change. Then logistics and industrial from, let's say, the early 90s onwards has emerged to provide for what the sort of socio-demographics needed, and I think this is just the obvious next step as to what is needed and will lead to one of the next growth phases.
And this is something that's popular in the US with investors, as a well-structured market.
Yep.
And really we're waiting for that kind of structure to appear in Europe before investors will begin to look at it.
Absolutely, and every call I have that our US team sort of get us involved with in terms of looking at somewhere like Europe is, of course, they're all thinking that it's hugely distressed and they can buy core assets at a 10% yield. So we have to explain that that's not quite possible, first of all. The next question is, do you do senior housing? And that's, well, not really. And then we get back to what about core real estate? And, oh, it's a bit expensive. And then that's the end of the conference call. But so I think it will come, though. I'm sure it will come.